All right, here's a recipe for all you upland bird hunters. Whether it's pheasant, chukar, quail, this recipe is also good with any kind of fish. And it's very citrusy, and it starts with Hi Mountain Game Bird and Poultry Brine. Now, these are quail that I bought. These are store-bought quail. They have no rib cage in them. These are really cool. When you buy them like this and they have the rib cage removed, it makes it really easy so that you can stuff them. You could put some sausage in there, put some vegetables, some fruit, some rice perhaps, and they really plump up really nice. But they've been brined in the Hi Mountain brine, and I know what you're thinking. Why do I need to brine quail? They're so delicate anyway. It's going to add moisture. It's going to add a little bit of flavor. And since I'm going to be using the Hi Mountain salmon rub to season it, that doesn't have a whole lot of salt in it, it's not going to compete with the brine. When you brine, you want to make sure that you use a little less salt in your seasoning, because the brine is going to add a little salty flavor, but it's still going to taste just like quail. Now, I don't cook a duck or a goose without first putting it in the Hi Mountain brine. Gets rid of any kind of trace amount of blood, liquid, cooks faster, pales it out a little bit in color so that it looks less like liver. And where we lose a lot of people with this wild game thing is a lot of game looks like liver, but not quail. So the quail's been brined. I've got a skillet over here. I've got my favorite olive oil, the Lodge olive oil out of Santa Rosa, Glen Ellen area, California. Quail, breast side down. Again, if your quail actually has a rib cage in it, like most of them do, it's no big deal. This recipe works the same. There's my quail. Now, when I first put the quail in, you can tell that it's going to kind of stick to the pan a little bit. Now, a common reaction is to start moving it around right away. What you want to do is wait until it moves easily. If you've got to scrape it, then you're going to end up losing some of that skin. And I like the skin on the quail. I like to pluck them rather than peel them because I like the crispy skin. I know it says Hi Mountain Salmon Rub, but this works really well with this recipe. The Hi Mountain Salmon Rub I use on fish, poultry, any kind of upland game. It's great on pork. This is my wife's favorite seasoning. Everybody should have one of these Hi Mountain Salmon Rubs. They're really citrusy, which is what I'm going to do with this recipe. This recipe, along with the quail and the olive oil, has got grapefruit, orange, lemon, lime, a little red onion, some Dijon mustard, cilantro. I have some dehydrated garlic chips. These are really handy. Let's say you look in the refrigerator and all of your fresh garlic has turned green. Well, if you just check out the little garlic chips, I go to Asian markets and buy these things in bulk. I'm going to also put a little butter in there to finish it with. And if the mood strikes, a little jalapeno also. This is called Supreme. This is the way you, whether it's a cantaloupe, a watermelon, or a grapefruit, start with that end, square off the other end. Now it sits just like that. Now you just start with your knife and you go around the outside because you want to remove this white pithy part right here. That's bitter. Whether it's a grapefruit, lemon, orange, don't care. Then we're just going to go through and do the total outside. And of course, it helps if you have a sharp knife. So think of this, if this was a cantaloupe, same deal, except you cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, then chop it up, as opposed to quartering it and having to deal with it. To get the sections out, take a knife, thusly, and then of course, save the juice. Your quail should be just a little bit pink at the thigh joint when it's done. It cooks really, really quickly. From the citrus, get that in there early. Give it a big squeeze of lime. this butter is going to turn this into a citrusy sauce. As the quail is done, I'll plate it up. We'll do 3. The grapefruit, the orange, and the lemon segments are all in there. And get that butter just a little tiny bit browned. Oh my goodness. Here's what's cool about this. Because, here's a little cilantro. The flavors are so mild in here, it's not going to bury the flavor of the quail. The quail is still going to taste like quail. Here's some of those garlic chips. All right, so we've got the Hi Mountain brine. Step number 1. Brine your quail for a couple of hours. Brine your ducks overnight. Geese, 24 hours. Your Thanksgiving turkey, 24 hours. It'll speed up the time on your Thanksgiving turkey. It's going to add moisture and flavor, and provided that you don't overcook it, people are going to say, that's the best dang turkey I've ever had. Season the whole thing with the Hi Mountain salmon rub, my tribute to quail, upland game, and Hi Mountain seasoning.